Hello, my name is Cameron Joseph, and today on People in Perspective, today I'm interviewing my uncle, Andy Joseph, the man in charge of remodeling RB. So today, Andy, I want to ask you, what was it like remodeling RB?
Well, it was a lengthy process, and it was, aside from the construction, which went on for about 3 years, that was preceded by about 2 to 3 years of planning. And the key to that was really understanding how education was being done at RB and how the school building was sort of hindering some of the aspirations for how to teach in the modern world. And to also talk to the community and find out what their values were and what they wanted out of the school. So there was a lot of initial conversations and ideas thrown around that led to a referendum on the ballot, which the community voted yes on by the majority, and then the design work continued probably for about a year and a half before construction started. The project involved really trying to take a school building that was built in 1917, and it was built for students in 1917 who were very different people than today, and it just wasn't working. The teachers couldn't put on some of the programs that they really wanted to be able to do. The science labs were antiquated. There wasn't enough power to run all the computers and video equipment, things like that. So it was way behind the times, and the whole impetus was, redoing as much as possible, including some of the space in the TV studio. Although I think, they might have wished they had gotten more. But the athletic field, the football field, was resurfaced with turf. There were new shops, new science labs, classrooms, new art facilities, new music rooms. The pool was expanded. The new field house was built. All sorts of different improvements. I think the total was something like about over $60 million spent on it. And I'm just really glad it's your school now.
Yeah. So did the old age of the building put some limitations on what you could actually do to it?
Well, that's a good question, and it did. As in designing it, we were trying to work around elements of the structure that were too difficult to change. And those elements are really like the heavy, solid walls that form up the corridors and form up the walls that divide one classroom from the next. Those were all masonry walls, and to a large extent are what holds up the whole structure, holds up the floors, holds up the roof. So
Exactly.
Moving them was very difficult. But so we avoided moving a lot of that. In a modern day, if you built the school today, instead of having those heavy walls, it would be built like a framework, and then all the walls would be lightweight, meaning that you could remodel them easily over time. But we didn't have that benefit.
Yeah.
Everything we built, we tried to build in flexibility for the future. But definitely an older building has some challenges.
So since you said that school is different now, you said there's more computers and more technology. Did you add more outlets?
Well, if you only had the outlets that you did before the project,
Yeah.
you guys would be, flat dead on being able to use computer technology. It just was very poor. So yes, outlets, a whole new computer network, new computer equipment, servers, really brought the whole system out of the Stone Age, if you will, into the 21st century. And now it's being used beautifully.
Would you say that remodeling RB is the highlight of your career or another bigger project?
I had a chance in my career to do major remodeling on 4 different high schools, and they were all pretty major projects.
Mhm.
This project probably was the most difficult and most challenging. That makes it a highlight because you know, that's one of the things that gives an architect a great deal of pleasure, is a difficult problem and finding the solution for that.
Exactly. What would you say is your hardest remodel? Like something that took you the longest time, or something that just had a bunch of challenges that just came out of nowhere?
Well, it's this school again. There was a very high aspiration amongst the community and the board at that time, and the administration. They really had a great desire to offer a better level of education for the students, and the money that they agreed to raise was sufficient to do a great job of it, but there were a lot of choices that had to be made, particularly, like you said, with the older building. Some things would cost more to do. Like, for example, it would have been great to have a brand new swimming pool.
Yeah.
That could have been, you know, a wider pool deck and a lot of other kind of features, but with the money that we had, it was a lot smarter to figure out how to expand the pool instead. Saved you know, $1 million doing that, so that was able to be spent on other things. So they were very complicated making those choices and keeping all of that project within the budget.
Mm-hmm. So how'd you first start off in architecture? You know, what got you into it, and what was your like very first
Well, I
remodel?
was younger than you when I kind of discovered what an architect was, and I was in my my middle school shop class, and they were teaching us how to draft with drafting tools, drawing straight lines and right angles, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I didn't really know what people would do with it, but one day I discovered this thing called an architect, and it really excited me because I could see, I liked making the drawings, and I really liked things getting built, and I like to watch things getting built, and so I looked at it as an opportunity to apply art into building and kind of combine those two things in my life. And I just started doing it right then, took every kind of class I could take in high school that related to it, and went on to college, just like that.
Thank you, Andy, for coming out here and doing this interview.